Street up, fly, fly. Street up, fly, fly. Street up, fly, fly. Down, Papa, don't you know?
Hello, have you had a good week? Are you happy? Are you satisfied? Are you sitting on the edge of your seat? Well, I'm certainly sitting on the edge of my seat. So what are we going to do? Well, you probably guessed it. We're going to look at covering the wings. Now, you have to be cautious that you have enough film to do this. So, you know, depending on how much you've got left, it depends on how much, where you draw around, etc. So what I've done is I've got my film ready. As you can see, there's the ailerons I've done earlier. I will be taking those off. I've shaped out on the back side the rough shape of the wing, which will overlap the bottom half of the wing, because you do the bottom first. You do the bottom first. Trust me, just trust me on that one. Okay, I've got an overlap here of around, I don't know, 1.5 inches all the way around. Perhaps a little bit close there on the tip, but it's okay. I've got a bit of angle there. I can go this way. And what we're going to do, if I turn this wing over, so we have the correct underside. Okay. Now you've got to make sure that everything is being prepped. You've got to sand it all down, any bits of filling, stuff like that. And once you've done that, what you could use is a tack cloth. This is a tack cloth. It is a slightly tacky cloth, which gives it its name. And supporting it, just go all over the wing. Any bits of fine dust that's sticking there, get rid of all of that. Okay, there you go. That's all you got to do. Or you can use something else. You don't have to use tack cloths. Okay, just make sure it's got no dust on it. Now the other thing is that you could use some cushions to support the other side. You will be putting some pressure on here, so why take a risk? Just put some cushions underneath it. And what we're going to do is, well, here's the thing. Covering a solid wing is a lot different to covering a built-up wing. The reason is that if you have a built-up wing, you're really tacking it round the sides first, and then you're starting from here, going this way usually, and you know, you're tacking it. Some people like to tack to the ribs, and then you get a heat gun and it all shrinks up. A solid wing is completely different. You don't have that luxury. So what I'll be doing is I'll be taking the backing off. We're using little bits of tape to tape it to the other side to hold it in, and using clothes pegs and stuff like that just to hold it. And then I'll be starting from the middle, going down and going out from the middle to the front and the back. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing. So I will just go off camera now, and I'll get my cushions on there and remove the film. It'll save some time. Okay, right, it's at this stage you want to put a fresh blade in your knife. Okay, because cutting film will blunt your life like no tomorrow. Okay, so you get your iron at the correct temperature, you put your sock on, and be careful how you place your lead. Now I've made allowances for this air intake here, so I'm going to start in the middle and work my way out. Okay.
I want some hugging and some squeezing and some hugging and some teasing and some stuff like that there. I want some petting and some spooning and some happy honeymooning and some stuff like that there. I used to think that love was just a lot of rubbish, a mess of cabbage, a mess of cabbage. But now my attitude is wholly lovey-dovey. And baby, you've done it. I want some kissing and some helping and some missing and some helping and some stuff like that there. I want some living and some tasting and some whooping and some pacing and some stuff like that there. And when I get a certain feeling, I confess it, there's really only one expression to express it. I want some hugging and some squeezing and some mugging and some teasing and some leaping and some chasing and some weeping and some pacing and some stuff. I want some stuff like that there. I want some kissing and some open and some missing and some open and some stuff like that there. I want some leaping and some chasing and some weeping and some pacing and some stuff like that there. And when I get a certain feeling, I confess it, there's really only one expression to express it. I want some hugging, squeezing, mugging, teasing and some stuff. Stuff like that there.
Well, I have to apologise. My memory was full on the camera, so I've had to go up to the house, download everything, delete everything off the drive so I can fit this on. So consequently, you've missed the bit where I'm doing this part here. However, there's another 3 sides to do, so I'm pretty sure that we can accommodate for that. And also, it occurs to me, this is pre-editing, by the way, that this is a very long video, so I may have to do some a lot of fast forwarding and so forth, because otherwise the video is going to be an hour long and you're just not going to take any notice. But anyway, the underside of the port wing is done. There it is, and you know, it's come out, I would say, reasonable. All you've got to do with this wingtip is get yourself a leather glove, get yourself a heat gun, pull the film round and heat it up, but just gently bit by bit, because don't forget that's 175 degrees centigrade. It'll just go melt it or burn a big hole in it or something. Just go like that, and it pulls all the wrinkles out. So there you go. So yeah, there you are. That's what it should look like. I'm now going to do the other side. I'm going to do it off camera, because if I'm going to be honest with you, you'll just get bored, and it's probably not worth looking at until I get to the other side anyway. Okay, now this is not finishing the wing, this is finishing covering the wing. The underneath is done, the starboard wing is done. I did make one mistake, and I wonder if anybody can pick up where it is. I didn't notice myself until it was too late, and I thought I might get away with it. But anyway, we'll see. If anybody can guess what it is, put it in the comments below. And if you're right, I'll think of something nice for you. Right, now, covering the top wing, you have to remember that the top wing generally is the one that's going to be on show. Not so much when it's in the air, because it's small, but when you are on the field and you've got all your flying buddies there and you're trying to show it off and everything else, you want it to be good. So this is where you have to take your time, and that's the key to everything with covering, is take your time. You may have mentioned many times, I'm no good at covering. I still stand by that. I'm just no good at it. but some people, you know, they just make it look so easy. So all I know is how to show you how I do it, and there are better people than me. So let's begin. So we're now looking at the port wing, which is the left hand wing. You make sure you've got enough overhang on the leading edge and the trailing edge and the tip. Now, one thing to remember is that the center section is inside the fuselage, so you're not going to see that. So you're allowed to make mistakes there if you want to, should you choose to. You need to make a little hole or a snippet for the control rod there, okay? And obviously you're not going to see that once the fuselage is on. So as long as you can accept that, that's great. The film has covered over the bandages very, very well, better than I had expected, if I'm being honest with you. So anyway, let's make sure the iron is at 90 degrees C. We have the sock on there. And I may have to fast forward in bits because it's going to be a very long video. So I'm going to start in the middle. So I've got a cushion underneath to protect the wing, and I'm just going backwards and forwards just to tack it on. Going back to the centre of the wing. Okay. And now what we must do is do our best to go to the leading edge. Not too quickly. You got the iron at 90 degrees centigrade, that is, and you need to let that glue heat up and go tacky. Now towards the trailing edge. And please don't do what I've done and leave the scissors underneath. Naughty. Okay. So we pull a little bit on the tip end, straighten it out. Look for the middle, to the leading edge. And by the time you've got to the point where you're covering the port wing top surface, you kind of get in the knack for it. Which is another good reason to do the underside first, hey? There we go. Not too quick because you've got to let that glue tack. Yeah. Heat up. At the moment, you can't see this, but there's 1 or 2 air bubbles I'm just getting out. At this stage it's not too difficult to get rid of the air bubbles because they got somewhere to escape to. And that's already starting to take shape. Okay, So we're going back towards the middle now, swapping hands. And you will get the ripples because you've already stuck down part of the covering, so therefore some of the film has shrunk and some of the film has not. But you always go from the centre of the wing out. Don't start from the trailing edge or the leading edge. Just getting a few of those bubbles out. You can apply the heat gun at certain stages, especially on the wingtips. The heat gun is quite good on the wingtips, but I wouldn't go mad with it because you spent all that time, effort and money covering the wing just to rush it on the wingtip. Wingtips are probably the hardest part, because you're trying to make the film go round things, and things that are in straight lines don't like to go round. But because this is a polymer sheet, it can be a little bit forgiving. At times like this I wish I had a battery iron. I believe they are commercially available. Or maybe a plug socket in the ceiling, so that... Do you know, I'm of that generation where my mother used to do the ironing. She plugged the iron into the light socket. You won't see that now. Yeah. And I'm just going around. I don't know whether you can see that or not, is the control rod for the ailerons. This chrome is so shiny, the reflection off the light is actually blinding. There we go. Now, I apologise if my hands or my arms get in the way. This is not a professional studio. And I'm trying to get this done, if I can, in real time, within a reasonable time. I don't like to fast forward if I can help it. And there are wrinkles here. Which I'm going to do my best to get out. You'd think I'd be good at this. I did most of the ironing in the house. Now, you get out of jail free card with the air bubbles is the fact that you have to put the servo in, and the servo is right here. the air to escape. How about that? There is a certain satisfaction, I think, when you're covering and it comes out nice. It's something of an achievement, I think. I think the word is satisfaction. Satisfying. Very English word, isn't it? Satisfaction. Okay. I might edit this bit. I'm just trying to get the air out to the leading edge on the middle bit. And actually I can come back to that. Okay, so we've still got some wrinkles here. So we're just gonna go heading towards the leading edge. Get them all out. And this is where the bandage meets the wing. Sometimes you just need to leave the iron in one place just to heat up a little bit more, like glue. Let's make it ever so slowly. Get it on its edge. Yes, it's coming out now. I think I referred to this model as the C-type. I don't think it is. I think it's actually the D-type. I think the C-type still had the ridgeback on it. So my mistake, I apologise. Now, this is where we have to take into consideration the shape of the leading edge. Now the leading edge comes out at an angle, so where it meets that angle there, let's pop a slit in there, and where it meets the centre section where the bandage is, pop a slit in there, and now you can pull that over. It doesn't meet any resistance from this part of the film, because otherwise you're fighting against yourself. I hope that makes some sense. Okay, so can come back to that. And you're always pushing any air out towards the leading edge. And you can follow that up with the heat gun if you really need to, because don't forget this is at 90 90 degrees centigrade. So if you put 170 on it, it'll shrink the film. At the moment, although you are shrinking the film, you're not shrinking it a lot. What you're really trying to do is to heat the glue up. Okay. There you go. There's the corner. And you just go ever so slightly over the 90 degrees. Like that. And we're going to leave this little bit here just for a bit. Now we're going to get onto this leading edge. Now you pull the leading edge. You do this rounding effect. At the same time sealing that leading edge all the way down. So there's no trap there. And of course if you seal it, the air can't get back in. Alright. Obviously you have to be careful you don't damage your wing while you're moving it around, and just be aware of what the other end's doing. Done that myself once or twice. And while you're sealing this, try and leave the iron on one spot, probably a little bit longer than what you have been, and really let that glue melt. Now I'm meeting some ripples here. I don't know whether you can see those ripples, probably not because it's chrome. We're meeting those ripples now. So I'll put a little bit of tension on that with my left hand. Towards the wingtip. I can see those ripples starting here. That's because I've not managed to tack that bit on just yet. Get the air out. And you just keep going over it. And the air will come out. Close to the wingtip now. Now I'm sealing that leading edge. Okay. So you can see this it taking shape now, and all you got to do is basically do the same on the trailing edge. Now, this is the part where you come into where the aileron seats. So I'm trying to seal that down on this part here until I meet the edge of aileron. And now what I must do is take the knife, and I'm going to cut, you see that? I'm going to cut from here to here. And I mentioned this before, to stop the film fighting against itself. So if you're tugging it, it's stressing it somewhere else. I'm just allowing for the overlap there to come down the side. Okay, so now there's no tension on this part of the film, so I can pull that down. Now sometimes, this is where another pair of hands comes in useful. Pulling it tight underneath. Resting the iron to heat up that glue. Now what I think I'll do is I'll trim that off and then come back to it. Now, to trim, go from the underside. At least that's how I do it. And that trailing edge would be your guide. You might have to peel it back slightly as well. Blade is already blunt. So we've got that, and we just seal that off. Okay. And you've got this bit here, it's got to go down. Glue melt. And just smooth it off. Okay. Any little excess there. I really should change the blade on this knife. Trim that off. And then you'll end up with a rough edge, which I can come back to. You just trim it down. So now then, because this is already partly covered because you've done the underneath, the rod that comes through, you can now afford to cut either side of that rod carefully. That bit out. Okay. There. There you go. That now comes over. So you've now got enough extra film here so you can grab it, check your other side, make sure you're not doing something you're going to regret. So I'm pulling the film, stretching it and sealing that edge. I'm pulling it with my thumb and forefinger, pulling it over. It's worth leaving the iron on it to make that glue melt, because you really want this to stick down. Make sure you push any remaining air out. Now, this is the bit where I'm going to have to trim the other side. Okay, so hold that up, puncture it there. Okay. Allows the rest of the film to come down. Okay, and you go on that edge, make sure that edge is sealed all the way along, and now you can lay the iron flat on that trailing edge, and that's locking it in, it's sealing that. So you can come along and trim it off. I may do now is to start trimming off the film, because we now want to concentrate on the wingtip, and you really don't want loose bits of film flapping around. Number one, it's a distraction. Number two, if you've got stuff flapping around needlessly, the film will stick to itself, and next thing you know, you've got an extra job on your hands. Okay, so you'll end up with that. So let's trim that off. I really should change this blade. In fact, do you know what, I think I will. Now, show you how I change a blade. I know how some people change blades, but there we go. In my box of many blades. Right, I'm using a 10A. I'll just mark it handle 3 because I'm using a number 3 handle. rest that there. Now I just grab the back end with my pliers, lift it up, pull it forward, so there's a bit of a gap there, grab the end of the blade, get rid of it. Very carefully, not cutting my fingers off, I gently ease the blade onto the handle, and I'm always looking at the gripping the blunt bits at the top. Push it down, it clicks in. Do you hear that click? Simple. Thank me. So, for reasons I don't quite understand, maybe because I'm right-handed, it always seems to work better and cleaner, and cuts cleaner when I go away to my right. So I'm going to stick it in the middle, pierce the film, just run along and let the blade do its work. Pull that back a bit. There you go. Now, cut that bit off because I want to come back to it. Okay, and I will run the iron over that again later. No, I'll tell you what I'll do it now. Just run the iron down. There you go, sealed it. So we can do the same with the leading edge. The difference of using a new blade is enormous. Stop before the tip. Because I've got something to hold on to. That join becomes invisible. There you go, you can't see the join. So, this is the exciting part, where I may have to plug in the heat gun. Now, if you're using a heat gun, I've got a gardening glove here. This is a right hand glove. I can't find the left hand. Don't know where it is. I might do, I think, grab with my left hand, use the iron to sweep over that curve. Now you are going to get creases, guaranteed. We'll take those out with the heat gun. Excuse me. Wingtips are notoriously difficult. Push out the air. You have to give the air somewhere to escape. It's very easy to seal it in. So you push it. Now, should you find yourself in the unenviable position of having a trapped air bubble, you can just prick it with a pin. Some films don't like it, some films will let you get away with it. Now, the reason I'm paying attention to this part is because I know if I put the heat gun on, all this is going to wrinkle up and just make life difficult. So I'm going to trim that off. It's worth buying brand new scissors on every project that you do, probably from the pound shop, because they'll, although they're still sharp, they will go blunter than what you need for this. And if they're only a quid, what's a quid? What was I doing? Oh yeah, get rid of that straggling end. There you go. Grab my knife, not my knife, my iron. Come along now, get it right. Okay, now you'll see why I've made sure that's sealed in, because I'm now going to use the gun like that, and grab that. Now, this is where things get tricky. This is, you know, you could really do with another pair of hands, but we haven't got them. Putting my right hand glove onto my left hand. Grab the heat gun. Lowest setting. Let the heat build up. Just check it. Dabs of heat. Dabs. Dab. 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 Move forward. Try not to burn your face off. Give me a chance to grab it. Dab. 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 And you'll feel it stretching. Now remember, the heat gun is at 170 degrees C, so it's going to melt the polymers. Okay. Dab, dab, dab. Check it. Dab, 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 dab. Now all the wrinkles will come out. Okay, and we're going to trim it. And I'll probably end the video here because the rest will just be boring and natural, but this is how I do it. I have to apologise. My memory card got full again, and you know, covering a wing and a fuselage is a very intensive thing to do. It takes up a lot of time, and I was very conscious of that, and I ran out of memory twice trying to cover the wing and attempted to cover the fuselage. So you have to bear with me that I'm not a producer. Okay, so carrying on from that and just ending the video here in relation to covering the wing and the fuzz. When it comes to doing the fuzz, okay, what you need to do is cover your battery hatch, and it's pretty straightforward. Most of the covering on here is pretty straightforward. Put that to one side. When you come to cover your fuzz, what I did, I covered the sides first. Okay, Then I trimmed off the edge along here, and here, here and here. I cut out the battery hatch, left an overhang of about 20mm and sealed it. Then I did around the wing. Don't do the bottom yet. Now the hard part is the nose. The reason it's a hard part is because you have the air intake underneath the boss of the propeller. I did it on my own, but if you can get somebody to help you, it's even better, because you're gonna need a glove, you're gonna need your heat gun, okay, and you stretch it, and then you get your iron, and you're kneeling it in all the time to get round those compound curves. It's very time consuming, but the rewards are great. Okay, so putting this to one side now. Then I put this top piece on, put the top piece on here, the top piece on here. Pretty straightforward, and just make sure that you trim off in the straight line. What I did, I got my 12-inch ruler, put a piece of tape there and there, held it on, scored along it, pull the film off. Really simple as that. Then the bottom. I continued with this front part here, trimmed it off either side here, so it comes to the air intake. Then I finished off in one piece. Let's turn this around. I finished off in one piece. So I brought the iron down to here, cut it here and here. I didn't cut it here, only down there, because you come around the curve, it stretches it. And you can stretch it here, and you put it aside, flat, doing it flat here, pulling around the sides until you get to the tail end. Same the other side, and just trimmed it right on the edge there, all the way around. That's it. And then what I did, when it comes to the air intake, I very carefully cut around the air intake here, put a flat piece in. This is going to be covered again with a black piece of vinyl, but it just finishes that off, and that is doing the fuzz. I would have liked to have done a video covering all of that, but you know, it's a very long process to do, and I couldn't really justify videoing all of it, because I would have ended up with about 3 different videos, probably an hour long each, and I can't see the viewer really putting up with all of that. It's a long process, and I have to admit, I did strip this off. I stripped it off because I wasn't happy with my own results, so I stripped it off and I did it again. Now, if you do strip off your film to do it again, I suggest you use rubbing alcohol to get the whatever glue is there that's tacking it down. Go over, get all the glue off, rub it down again, and make sure you're happy with it, because it'll show up any imperfections. Why did I strip it off? I stripped it off because I did it wrong. I mucked it up. And you'll see a lot of people in videos that put it on, but you don't know how many times they've done that. They only show you the good bits. So I stripped mine back down again, redid it again. It cost me another roll of film, which in the UK is about £28, call it 30. You'll have to work that out into dollars or yen or whatever you pay out. Okay, so that's an expensive mistake, but you make mistakes in modelling, and you always will. Nobody builds a model perfectly first time and not make a mistake somewhere. So don't be afraid to strip it off if you're not happy with it. Start again. Just be aware of the costs of covering it, which is why you need to make your preparation first. Okay, so I'm going to end it here, and what will be up to, I don't know, can't remember. I think the next one's part 12. I'll find out. Anyway, so thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next part. Cheerio.